Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into this show today. Now, today's episode, we're going around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And as per usual, it was quite an action-packed week. We have America's favorite or least famous coupon book, the American Express Platinum Card, making some changes. We have Chase doing similar to some of their cards. And believe it or not, debit cards, yes, debit cards may become popular again if the big banks have their way. All that and more, of course, if it sounds interesting to you, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, as promised, we will lead off with America's favorite coupon book. You know it well. It is the American Express Platinum Card. First off, we were taking a look at the streaming credit, or I believe it's technically called the entertainment credit. So there are some changes here, some restrictions, if you will. Now, I don't do much with streaming, but from what I understand, there are various ways that you can bundle services together, like Peacock, for example. Sometimes there were deals where you could get it and like maybe Apple TV or something like that, some kind of bundle. And of course, it would save you money and hopefully still trigger part of this credit. Well, it looks like that is no longer the case. As you have on screen for you now, these are the changes to that digital entertainment credit benefit. As I said entertainment, I was close. Effective August 1st of 2026, Peacock bundled service subscriptions, and I don't know why they said it twice, and add-on services. They wrote this weird. Service subscriptions or service subscription purchased through a third party will be eligible for the digital entertainment credit. You will still be able to earn up to $25 in statement credits monthly by purchasing standalone Peacock subscriptions directly from Peacock or eligible subscriptions with other digital entertainment partners. So there you go. Basically, my guess is that it's the third party deal. Peacock is paying some of their marketing budget for customer acquisition to the Platinum Card. If you buy these bundles elsewhere, sold through a third party, likely none of that money is coming back to them, or they might not be getting your information. It really depends on how you sign up and who has your information. That'll be also part of it. So either way, bundles are out, which is kind of a shame because again, that vendor and Peacock should be more price competitive. Folks are going elsewhere, but you're kind of locked in simply because of the credit. So I don't know that I would be mad at American Express for this one per se. Peacock likely phoned them up and said, hey, this is what we're noticing, so make these changes, and American Express gets paid either way, so they happily made the changes. Now, something else that changed, another credit, if you will, the loss of a credit was the American Express Saks credit. Kind of went away because Saks is no longer around to fulfill that, so there's no one there to step in. So they had gone bankrupt, so American Express for a while was offering what they call increased or special Amex offers through the Platinum Card. I mean, those are hit or miss, either it's useful to you or not. However, it looks like some cardholders who are brand new Platinum Card holders are getting a goodwill credit. So again, this came up on Reddit. You can see it here. This was posted July 1st for the person who sent this in, but it's Saks Benefit Goodwill Credit for $50. So they're just straight giving it to them. Now, again, this seems to, I haven't seen a specific date range or enough data points on, hey, you applied by this date to get it. Again, July 1st is just when the credit was issued. I don't know when this gentleman was approved for the card, but again, I would assume I don't think this is more so American Express being nice. It's probably them just trying to stay out of trouble if the marketing material hadn't been updated and you signed up for the card and maybe you didn't have it in the mail long enough to truly use that benefit. It's simply easier to just throw you $50. Again, I don't think Saks could be paying for it because they're having a rough time as is. They're not even in business anymore, so that would be my guess. I would not expect everyone to get this. If you had the card for quite some time, I would expect just brand new folks to get it. But if you're not into shopping with your Platinum Card, yes, it continues. Now we have changes to the Centurion Lounge access. Again, Platinum Card gets you in. I believe the Delta Reserve gets you in, and of course the actual Centurion card itself gets you in. So there are some changes here likely to combat overcrowding. So if you take a look at these two changes here, this was flagged by TPG. So 2 points here. Guests of card members will need to be traveling on the same flight as the card member. That one doesn't seem too unreasonable. There will be a new time-based restriction for layovers. You will be able to access the lounge up to 5 hours before your departing flight. Current term states members must arrive within 3 hours of their departing flight and present their card. Of course, this is never applied to layovers. So basically, it didn't apply to layovers, were just like any time because you're laying over, right? So now there's a 5 hour deal with the layover. So the first one makes sense. apparently it was a thing where you would just like buddy up, and if you weren't on the same itinerary, you'd buddy up with someone else and just bring them into the lounge with you. So the first one doesn't seem ridiculous. I would say the second one is going to be largely hit or miss. I mean, your day already sucks pretty bad if you got more than a 5 hour layover. Again, it's just pointed at overcrowding would be my guess. How much it helps, who's really to say? I still believe the problem is there's just so many of these cards out there, and they're just, as weird as it is to say, the card is overly expensive at $900, but it's just not expensive enough. It's not price prohibitive enough to bring the lounge numbers within reason. So there you have it. Hopefully, if you are friends, you're flying on the same ticket. Or just be like me, don't really have that many friends, and then going alone is always an option. Now, not to miss out on the fun, the House of Diamond is going to get on the train of removing some perks as well. This one comes to us from the Freedom Flex card. So this popped up in the benefits guide here, cell phone protection. The benefit will cover eligible losses incurred through 9/19 of 2026 and will be discontinued on September 20th. So if you're getting a new iPhone, and I think I will be, hopefully they make it in gray or black this time, whatever they call it, space gray, so I don't have to sit out and miss the phone. But the point is, if you're getting a new phone, just remember you're going to, if you like insurance, you're maybe going to want to look at AppleCare or just a different card too. But either way, Freedom Flex, one of its benefits was it was a free card and it offered cell phone protection if you paid your bill with the Freedom Flex card. They are now removing that. I don't know why. It's entirely possible because these are generally payment network perks. Being MasterCard offered that, and of course Chase would likely have to pay a fee to MasterCard for it. It's perhaps Chase just got tired of paying that on a free product, would be my guess, and it's just a simple way to, be more ticky-tacky, if you will, which I think we're seeing a lot of across not only Chase, but when we had the Chase store a while back where you can no longer cash out Ultimate Reward points to an external bank account. That's something I'd call very ticky-tacky, like, come on, really? That's what we're doing? And now you're removing this as well? I assume it's a cost savings play, if anything else. So that is unfortunate. There are a lot of other cards, I believe. I think the Autograph, for example, does cell phone protection, or just buy a case, that too as well, but that's not as fun. So there you go. There's that. Now, again, Chase really didn't want to be undone. So this is more of a toss-up type deal, but this goes back to the Sapphire Reserve and their exclusive tables, their $300 dining credit when you go through Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables. That's what it's called. That's what I wrote down. So, again, this shows you just being called coupons galore, some extreme couponing or something. So anyways, what Chase is doing is they've updated the amount of restaurants in the list that you can choose from. So they added 91 restaurants. However, they also removed 64. So a lot of it's going to depend on where you're at and what's your favorite restaurant removed. So again, Frequent Miler, I believe, called this one out. So it looks like is around Vegas was the big area, which, I mean, there's always a ton of stuff to eat and do out there. So they are offering a grace period from restaurants being removed for being able to request a manual credit for those with existing reservations that are now removed. So if you have a reservation, as long as it's within the 60-day window, you're probably going to have to phone up. Or you could probably, Chase, you could probably do it through secure message, and they will honor that. So just, if you're using this credit, just double check where you're planning to have dinner at. If nothing else, just settle for the Cheesecake Factory, I guess. They've got a zillion things. I'm sure you'll find something on the menu. Don't think they take the Sapphire Reserve, but you might earn a few points. Now, we're done with coupons. It's a lot of coupons. The reason we're done with coupons, we do have one more credit card story, but now we're going to make a stop at debit cards, which don't really offer any coupons yet. So if you remember some years ago, there was a guy, was it Senator Durbin, the Durbin Amendment, where he basically went after debit card and interchange fees. And I'm giving you the speed run version of it. It's come up quite a bit during like the Credit Card Competition Act and that whole thing. But the gist of it is putting rules in place that capped interchange fees on debit cards, which basically kneecap debit cards from being anything more than something that the Ramseys just fawn all over, right? They don't have a lot, they don't earn rewards. Some do earn, 1% back. There are some creative ones that you can see more so at credit unions. But for the most part, as you're well aware, debit cards don't really earn rewards. because of that. And, obviously there's no interest charges and things like that. So between no interest and no interchange or limited interchange fees, it's just not a really interesting product for banks to push. They basically just have to give you a debit card with a checking account. Well, now there's reporting from the Wall Street Journal that major banks here, I believe it's Chase and Bank of America, are making a play at buying a debit card processor, if you will. So we take a look at this. And the Wall Street Journal is reporting that JP Morgan and Bank of America are looking into purchasing Star and Accel. So Star and Accel are owned by Fiserv and are two of the largest debit card processors, major banks. So as we said, they'd be interested in this because the Durbin Amendment limits debit card interchange fees, like we said. However, if you own them and it's your core line of business, I believe it no longer applies to you. It's very similar to how when the Credit Card Competition Act comes around, it's always aimed at Visa and MasterCard. And then American Express and Discover get out of it because issuing being a payment network is their core business. So if it's my core business, of issuing the card and then it's on my own payment network, why would I invite somebody else on there? So Wall Street Journal goes on to say that if any major bank did purchase one of these, they could route those transactions through their own network and the cap would not apply anymore. The cap that they're talking about is the limits, what we talked about, the limits debit interchange fees that can be charged is like 22 cents plus 0.5%. So there's that's the limit. And there were two exclusions: smaller banks and credit unions with under 10 billion in assets or exempt, and interchange is only capped when transactions are routed over third-party networks. So again, I read that in a weird order, but as you can see, if I'm Chase or Bank of America, if I buy these guys, think of it very similar to what we say what Capital One's goal for buying Discover was, to get my own payment network. Now I'm not going out to a third party, and I get around that cap, so then I can do whatever I want. Now, I wouldn't get super excited. I don't necessarily believe that means we're going to see a flood of rewards debit cards. I think there could be some interest there between Bank of America and Chase to do something with debit cards, but more likely they're already so big. They're the 1 and 2 bank in the country, and customers are so used to not earning anything from debit cards that they would just be pocketing most of that. Now, if we really want to stretch this a little bit, is it possible it's also a little bit of a hedge? If I know credit card and interchange fees are under attack, do I go and try to bolster up my other side of the business, card business and debit cards, get something over there? And does it potentially help support our credit card rewards going forward if the competition act? Well, the judge, we covered it a while back in the settlement that these guys, the merchants and Visa and MasterCard had come up with, had like preliminary approval that would have put a cap for 5 years on how much they can raise prices, and also give merchants the right to refuse certain types of credit cards, and even open up for merchants to charge additional processing fees, which they already do, which I don't really understand that part. I have had 2 vendors come over to the house to do some work as of late. One charged 3.5%, the other charged 4%. So I don't know about that part. But anyways, that's really what my guess would be, just initial guess would be, like it's more of a hedge. If I can buy these guys, I can make up some interchange fees over here. At one point, Chase did have Sapphire Banking we talked about that they got rid of. Is there some kind of tie-in for a higher-end debit card? Perhaps, but I really think that's it. I don't know that they're going to all of a sudden come out. Maybe you could see something to compete with smaller credit unions like Affinity. Federal has a 1% debit card, for example, but I'm not overly hopeful on that, simply because of the size that Chase is and Bank of America is, and they don't really need to. I think this is just more for them than anything else. But it is a very interesting story, to say the least, so I'm definitely one I want to keep my eye out and see how it plays out. You can let me know what you think down below. Now, if you're more of a credit card fan, you don't like coupons and you like cash back, well, we're going to close with this one. So if you remember a while back, this is like a show for people who have watched previous shows. So we're referencing a lot of old stuff. There's a whole playlist on the main channel of Around the Nets if you want to go check it out and get caught up. But SoFi launched a new credit card way back when. And the star of the show was it was 5% back on groceries, 1% back on everything else. It was paywalled, not behind an annual fee, but behind SoFi Plus. That's like their membership loyalty program. Originally, SoFi Plus, you could either pay $10 a month, or you could have, like, I think it's a $500 direct deposit. They've since gotten rid of the direct deposit component, and now it's straight pay to play. $10 per month, $120 a year. Is it worth it to you? That's up to you. I don't think it is. But the point being, with this credit card is now, according to the terms and conditions and the FAQ page, is now outside of SoFi Plus, which means as long as you just have a SoFi account, you could just apply and be approved for this card, which is sort of a game changer. Now, there's no intro offer, but as you can see, 5% back at grocery stores, pretty handy. Now, I was talking to one gentleman, Doc, if you may see him in the comments, not the good doctor from Dr. Credit, but our version of Doc, less good, but we love him anyways. I hope you watched this far just to hear a shout out. I should have been nicer about it. I think he'll laugh. Anyways, he actually was telling me he did apply and get this card. He was a SoFi customer, not a Plus customer, it's a customer. And it is kind of like a charge card in the sense that it is tied to your SoFi balance. We didn't get into through comments like how much money he had with them or anything like that. But that's what I'm seeing reported so far. So if anyone else has it, you let me know. Now, I don't think I'm going to run out and get this card. My point in bringing the story up is more so that I'm pretty sure that I bet money that eventually the custom cash train is going to come to an end. And for many of us, especially in the cashback space, we're using the custom cashes to prop up our setup. So for me personally, as you might know, I'm a custom cash for gas and a custom cash for dining. The AAA Daily Advantage is my grocery card at 5% back. So if it came down to it, you could swap the Daily Advantage to the Travel Advantage. That one does 5% on gas. Then you could go ahead and get this card, so you have gas still covered at 5, apply for this card, and have groceries still covered at 5%. So I think this is one, if you want it now, if you're missing a grocery card, by all means, I think it being outside of SoFi Plus is a game changer, definitely worth considering. I don't foresee it having an intro offer. SoFi, they have checking offers, and we probably have one for unprofitable content, but they don't really push a lot of intro offers like that. A lot of deposit offers, a lot of loan offers, not a lot of credit card intro offers. So I don't foresee one coming. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't. So if you're missing a grocery card and you're like cash back, by all means. For me, it's more so just filing it away mentally. I like to know where all my options are, and especially in this day and age, as we talk about a bunch of nerfing of coupons and nerfing of programs. For however long we have it, it is now a viable option to consider, primarily for cashback folks. So there you go. Thank you to our doctor for making me aware of that and just quickly talking to me about his experience getting the card. So there you have it. That is the news for this week. So of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. So we're posting content just like this every single week. And of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And of course, every single day over on profitablecontent.com, which is of course the channel's blog. It's always linked down below for you, as well as on the channel homepage. We have news stories just like this, plenty of bank promotions, something from SoFi to be sure, and on occasion some credit card offers. Anyways guys, that'll do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon this week.